What's up, my allies? My name is Zacharias, and this is Thank You Universe. And today, we're having an intervention about our self-talk and being nice to ourselves, because I've heard the way that you talk to yourself, and, you're being kind of mean to yourself, don't you think? So let's talk about our self-talk and why it matters and why it is important. And a lot of us have really complicated relationships with ourselves, like the way that we talk to ourselves and the way that we treat ourselves and the way that we punish ourselves and the voice in our head that is just a critic that we carry around. They say that you are your own worst critic, right? And we carry this critic with us all day long, a lot of us, and we don't learn how to have positive self-talk. We self-talk from a very negative place. And we have this double standard with ourselves and other people. Like, other people, they're normal human beings, they have flaws, they make mistakes, and that's okay, no big deal. Like, if someone trips up or bumps into you, it's just like, oh, no worries, it's fine. But when it comes to you, you're different, right? You're not just some random human being deserving of forgiveness, love, and compassion. No, you have to be perfect all the time. Otherwise, you're gonna start smack-talking yourself. Bring on the smackdown, bring on the trash talk, because you made a tiny little mistake. That's how it is for a lot of people. They will trash talk themselves over the littlest things, like, oh, I made eye contact with a person. I'm so awkward, I'm such an idiot. Why did I say that? Who says things like that? Who dresses the way that I do? Like, really though, who dresses the way that I do? But we have this voice in our head, and everyone talks to themselves. No, you're not crazy, everyone does it. But we want to make that inner voice our ally instead of our enemy, instead of someone trash-talking us all the time. Because we need to be as forgiving and understanding and as loving of ourselves as we are of other people when they make a mistake. And we really need to think about the way that we talk to ourselves, because the way that we talk to ourselves affects the way that we feel about ourselves, and it affects the actions we take, and it affects the story that we tell ourselves about ourselves. Because everyone has a story about themselves, the person that they think they are, the story of their life, and if you tell yourself, oh, I am someone who constantly makes mistakes, and you trash talk yourself about that, that is the life that you will live. Or if you tell yourself that I have no friends, or I'm awkward, or I'm not worthy of love, or I'm not good enough, or I suck, or any number of insults that you could come up with yourself, it's going to affect how you act and how you behave, because you perform better when you feel like you're good and you're a good person. And if you think that you suck, that's going to affect the way that you perform and live your life. So you might as well be your own cheerleader instead of your own biggest critic. And it really, honestly, breaks my heart to know how many people have poor self-talk and they're just so mean to themselves, and they say these awful things to themselves. Like, you would never say this to another human being, yet you're saying it to yourself. So really, realize that you can be kind to yourself and you can be your own cheerleader, and you don't have to always be trash-talking yourself. So if we have toxic self-talk, if it's not healthy, the first thing we want to do is start monitoring it. And then you start to catch yourself. Like, maybe you make a mistake in your life and then you're just like, oh, I'm an idiot. Then you go, I'm catching myself here. I just called myself an idiot. I'm not just going to take that, I'm going to recognize it. And then you say, okay, I didn't mean that. I'm sorry, me. I forgive me. And then try and give yourself a compliment. And depending on where you are in your feelings of self-worth, this could be a very difficult task, trying to compliment yourself. But at least practice, even if you don't feel it, you have to start practicing it and catching yourself when you say mean things to yourself. Like, there was a point in my life with my self-talk where it was really toxic, to the point where I would just say something terrible to myself, and then I would just have to go and look in a mirror and I'd say, you are not going to talk like that to me anymore. And you might feel a little crazy, but learning to be nice to yourself is less crazy than living as your own biggest critic your whole life. And there's nothing wrong with being crazy anyways. We're all mad here. Everyone's a little loopy. But our self-talk is really important in how we feel about ourselves and live our lives. And you learn to motivate yourself with kindness instead of motivating yourself with telling yourself you're not good enough. And so as we begin to monitor ourselves, we can see the relationship we have with ourselves. And a lot of times when we feel bad, we made a mistake, something bad happened, maybe you were rejected, maybe you didn't get that raise, maybe you didn't turn in your homework, maybe you didn't finish that project, maybe you didn't clean your room, whatever it was, we feel bad about that. And then we double the suffering by trash talking ourselves. And we need to do away with that and monitor and catch ourselves when we start doing that. And instead, start saying kind things to yourself. Like maybe even telling yourself, I love you. Like I do that all the time. Like I can't even count how many times a day that I tell myself I love myself, because I need to keep up with that good self-talk, because it makes me feel good knowing that I love myself. And we can learn to motivate ourselves with kindness rather than punishing ourselves for just feeling bad. And one of the golden mantras that I use, that you can use as well, is I am good enough no matter what. So even if you make a mistake, that's okay. I made a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. I'm good enough no matter what. So we really need to monitor the way that we talk to ourselves and how we feel about the way that we talk to ourselves. And if you're insulting yourself and you catch it, does it really feel good, like knowing that you talk to yourself that way? Aren't there enough people in your life that have been negative to you that have become this internal voice in a way? Because a lot of times when people are critical of us, it becomes our internal voice. The people who are the most disapproving of us or the most hurtful to us, they become a part of us in our negative self-talk, in our critical voice. And do you really want those people to be in your head all the time? Hell no. So get rid of that voice and learn that no matter what you do, you're good enough no matter what. If you make a mistake, you're still good enough no matter what. And you don't need to motivate yourself by degrading yourself. You can motivate yourself from a growth mindset, from a self-love, and doing things because you actually want to do things for yourself, and you tell yourself good things about yourself, and you're kind to yourself, and you engage in things because you want to, not because you don't feel good enough. So instead of like saying, I have to do all these things so I can just be good enough and then I'll let myself rest and I'll stop harassing myself, do things from a growth mentality. Say, I'm doing things because I love myself and this is what I want to do. And even if it's something that's not my favorite thing to do, I'm gonna do it because I love myself and I want to grow. Instead of just harassing yourself and say, oh, you're not good enough, you didn't even get this work done, you didn't even clean your room today, nobody likes you. Because that's really, in the long run, it's gonna affect the way you see yourself, and it's gonna affect your mentality, and you're really not gonna feel good about yourself. And we wanna feel positive and good, right? Because for one, it feels good, and for two, we work more effectively, we live more effectively, we can get into the flow state more easily and have just a better life in general when we are kind to ourselves and when we feel good about ourselves. And feeling good about yourself starts with you, and it also starts with the way that you talk to yourself. So you need to learn to talk to yourself kindly, with some love and some empathy, and don't be so hard on yourself and don't beat yourself up all the time, because you're awesome and you're doing great, and if you make a mistake, it's okay. Everyone makes mistakes. You're not a terrible person. Even if it's a big mistake, you can be kind to yourself no matter what. And life really changes when you're nice to yourself no matter what, because even if you make a mistake, you can keep going. You don't have to feel like it's the end of the world and you're a bad person. You just say, I made a mistake, and then you wait for that mental punch is coming and you're like, wait, I'm not mean to myself anymore. I have good self-talk and I'm kind to myself. And if you do have a lot of trouble with this, I definitely recommend starting some form of meditation. Mindfulness meditation is always great, because when you learn to quiet the mind and to silence the thoughts, then you're also learning to quiet your negative self-critic, right? Because the self-critic can't be talking in your ear when you've quieted your mind. So just as a little bonus tip there, I really do recommend meditation for helping your self-talk, because you can start to observe your thoughts without judgment and eventually quiet them and learn to just be in the moment and experience, because that is the highest form of living life, is being in that flow state of just living moment to moment, having an experience. And you're not saying, oh, I should be having this experience a different way, I'm bad for not having this experience, I made a mistake, this or that. You're just living your life for you. And life can be really beautiful when you are your own friend and you're really nice to yourself and you have some good self-talk. So please, trust me, you're awesome. So please be nice to yourself, no matter what. And with all that said, thank you so much for tuning into this video. Much love to all my allies out there. If you like the video, please go ahead and give it a like. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe. And I'll be seeing all of you on the next video. Bye!